everyone. In today's session, I will be reading chapter Advent of Europeans in India from Spectrum. Uh, this is a pure reading session, so you can follow along with your book or simply listen carefully. Let's begin. It is customary to divide the study of history into periods. We thus talk of ancient, medieval, and modern periods in history. However, it is not always easy to distinguish clearly when one period ends and another begins. The history of modern India is usually associated with the advent of Europeans, but then we need to go back to what is generally considered the medieval period, that is, the 15th century itself. Indeed, to a time even before the Mughals came and established their empire. Okay, first topic, the Portuguese in India. Till the end of 6th century, European nations like Greece and Rome had extensive trade contacts with India. After the decline of Rome Empire in the 7th century, the Arabs had established their domination in Egypt and Persia. As a result, direct contact between the Europeans and Indians declined, and the easy accessibility to Indian commodities like spices, calicos, silk, and various precious stones that were greatly in demand was affected. In 1453, Constantinople fell to the Ottoman Turks, went to European markets through Arab Muslim intermediaries. The Red Sea trade route was a state monopoly from which Islamic rulers earned tremendous revenue. The land routes to India were also controlled by the Arabs. In the circumstances, the Europeans were keen to find a direct sea route to India. Okay, in this, there is a subtopic discovery of direct sea route to India. 15th century Europe was gripped by spirit of Renaissance with its call for exploration. At the same time, Europe made great advances in the art of shipbuilding and navigation. Hence, there was an eagerness all over Europe for adventurous sea voyage to reach the unknown corner of the East. The economic development of many regions of Europe was also progressive rapidly with expansion of land under cultivation, the introduction of an improved plough, scientific crop management such as crop rotation and increased supply of meat, which called for spices for cooking as well as for preservation. Prosperity also grew, and with it, the demand for Oriental luxury goods were also increased. Venice and Genoa had earlier proposed through trade in Oriental goods were too small to take on the mighty Ottoman Turks or to take up major exploration in their own on their own. The North Europeans were ready to aid Portugal and Spain with money and men. Even at the Genoese were ready to provide ships and technical knowledge. Moreover, the Portugal had assumed the leadership in Christendom's resistance to Islam, even as it had taken on itself the spirit of exploration that had characterized the Genoese. Historians have observed that the idea of finding an ocean route to India had become an obsession for Prince Henry. Histo- Historians have observed that idea of finding an ocean route to India had become an obsession for Prince Henry of Portugal. who was nicknamed the Navigator also. He was keen to find way to circumvent the Muslim domination of eastern Mediterranean and all the routes that connected India to Europe. Pope Nicholas V gave Prince Henry a bull in 1454, conferring on him the right to navigate the sea to the distant shore of Orient, more specifically as far as India, in an attempt to fight Islamic influence and spread the Christian faith. However, Prince Henry died before his dream could become a reality. In 1497, under the Treaty of Tordesillas, 1494, the rulers of Portugal and Spain divided the non Christian world between them by an imaginary line in the Atlantic, some 1300 miles west of the Cape Verde Island. Under the treaty, Portugal could claim and occupy everything to the east of line, while Spain could claim everything to the west. The situation was thus prepared for Portuguese incursions into the waters around India. In 1487, the Portuguese navigator Bartolomeu Dias rounded the Cape of Good Hope in Africa and sailed up the eastern coast. He was convinced that he had found the new sea route to India, but it was only in 1497 that had an expedition of Portuguese ships set out for India and arrived in India in slightly less than 11 months' time in May 1498. So, this is for today's video. We will continue from trading to ruling in next video, in which we discover about Vasco da Gama, Francisco de Almeida, Alfonso de Albuquerque, Nuno de Cunha, and favorable condition for Portuguese. Until stay tuned. Bye bye and comment for next part. Thank you. Bye.